Hi, everybody. Will here with this month's edition of the Coach's Corner, brought to you by Kano Chronicle TV and Dog Show Tips. So sit back and here's George.
Coach's Corner with Will Alexander and George Alston. Brought to you by Pro Plan and Canine Chronicle.
Hi, everybody. Will here with our favorite coach on Coach's Corner, George Alston. Hi, George. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good.
Good. You look good.
Well, as compared to what?
No, you look good, George.
Yeah, I went to a specialty show and a bunch of people said, "Hey, look, you look pretty good." I said, "Compared to what?" So I think they were just trying to make me feel nice.
Did it work?
Huh?
Did it work?
Did what work?
Did they make you feel good?
Yeah, I felt good.
Good.
Yeah.
That's all that matters then.
Yeah, but that's one of the reasons what I'm going to talk about. I shouldn't go to dog shows.
Why is that?
I get a little upset when I look at the quality of the presentation and what's going on there. If these legs still worked, I'd want to come out of retirement. But no, what it is, I was appalled at the actual presentation, and that included not only owner handlers, but professionals.
What did they do now?
Well, let me start off with the handler as an artist. When you compare a handler and an artist of paintings or sculptures or bronzes or whatever, the artist of a painting or whatever medium that they're practicing in, once they finished with that art project, they don't ever have to touch it again. And if they had to reproduce that, there's no way they could do it exactly. Right. Absolutely impossible. But the handler, as an artist, he comes into the ring and sets his dog up. And then when it moves and goes to set up again, he has to create that artist picture exactly again. We're talking consistency. And you watch people come into the ring of a class, let's say a class of 15. They come in and they set their dog up, bango. They got it set up really, very, very nice. And then their quality of their stacking and gating deteriorates as the class gets older and older. I watched even professionals at that Irish Center National. At the beginning of the specials class, man, they came in and they had their dogs really looking good and their neck stretched and everything. And by the end of the class, they weren't placing the feet down properly. They were just throwing them down and hoping that they would get there in the right place.
Hoping for the best. I always say that. Don't just throw it back there and hope for the best.
Yeah. And to me, and I know you did too, we actually got better as the class went on.
Well, I think because of what you taught me, I slowed everything down, and I always liken it to a pitcher in baseball. I tried to slow everything down so that I was like you always told me, thinking in half speed and slowing it down so things got done properly. And it was quick enough because I was slowing myself down, but that mixed with my adrenaline kept to the speed where it should be, right? Just
When
like you
I
taught me.
when I was apprenticing under Jane Forsyth, she drilled into my head that, and she and I'm thinking of Irish setters, but it happens in everything. But you get Dick Cooper, Jane Forsyth, Tommy Glassford, me, Bobby Barlow, and Horace Hollins in the ring.
A Mount Rushmore.
Huh?
Like a Mount Rushmore.
Just about. But we didn't start to really work until we made the cut. And Janie Forsyth taught me, she says, why wear your dog out if just to make the cut?
Right.
If your dog is good enough to make the cut, then you go to work. And when you watch Janie Forsyth show an Irish, let's say, yeah, she went in the ring and set her dog up, set up her Irish setter, and it looked good. And she made the cut. And all of a sudden, that Irish setter's neck grew 2 inches. And all of a sudden, the whole picture was there. And it was a complete opposite at the National that I saw down in Virginia Beach. But you have to be consistent. And as an example of, and I'm just using these examples because this was happened to me. Irish Setter National out in California, and a very famous judge, Langdon Scarta, was the judge, which I had a lot of respect for. He was a great, great man.
He sure was.
Yeah. And
I agree.
So he put my dog up for the breed. And he said, we're having a picture taken. He says, in the beginning of that class, and there were 120 specials, I think. He says, I wasn't really impressed with your dog. And he says, there were a couple of other dogs that I would have put up at the beginning of the class. But he said, your dog kept getting better and better. He says, by the end of the class, your dog was shot out of a canyon and looked like $1 million. And he stands there and he says, you son of a gun.
He probably said something else than son of a gun, but that's all right.
Yeah, yes, he did, because he was always a little, anyway, I was being nice. He said, you did the same thing at the English Springer National 4 years ago to me. And I said, I was taught that the judge points at the end of the class, not at the beginning.
Yeah, that goes through my head all the time when I'm out there.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And it was, and also it works very well when you're showing dogs in the heat, like in the summertime. We had the Springer National, and it was like 98 degrees, and we were in a tin aircraft hangar, and it was hotter than blue hell. I walked in the ring. I didn't even really set my dog up until I made the cut and got down to the end, and then really went to work. But why wear them out?
Right.
Why make them hate it for just the cut? But you have to have consistency. You are an artist in the ring, and it has to be done exactly the same every single time. You think how you set your dog's front up, and you set it exactly the same way. You go through exactly the same motions. every single time.
Yep. Consistency is the answer.
It absolutely is. And there was a famous football coach that from the Green Bay Packers. I forget what his name. Vince Lombardi. He said, you don't do things correctly once, you don't do it correctly twice, you do it correctly every single time. That's how you become a winner. And it works the same way with showing dogs.
I agree.
So that's my lesson for today.
No, I'm not letting you go yet because we have viewer mail. I want you to answer this question.
Uh-oh, you're going to catch me off guard.
I catch you off guard. I can find it here on this crazy. Here we are. Come on. Hi there. I always hear about people talking about sending win photos and thank you cards to judges. When or is this appropriate? Is there a protocol such as what to include, as in the dog's name or more detailed information, card or note? Is there a time frame after the win to send it? That came from viewer Susan Reed Davis.
Well, it is appropriate. Judges like to get pictures of a good dog.
For sure we do. Yeah.
It says, like I've got the couple of times that I've judged, I've got pictures on my wall. And I look at it.
Because we like seeing them. We like being reminded of the dogs we saw.
But make sure it's a good picture of the judge, number one, because they like to see themselves looking good. And I see some pictures put in magazines, and the judge looks like hell. And then, if somebody put that picture of me in there looking like that, I'd be very upset. But also make sure it's a good picture of the dog, too.
Yes.
And then just say, thank you very much for your consideration. And you can put the name of the dog and your name. That's it. Don't give them a bunch of Who Struck John or write a soliloquy or something like that.
They don't want to read a commercial. So
they don't want to read a commercial or a bunch of BS. Excuse me.
BS is okay.
Oh, okay. And so it's, that's fine. Now, do we have another one?
No, that's all we have for today.
I can't believe people don't have more questions.
Well, maybe we're answering all their questions.
Well, that could be. Maybe we're bringing up stuff that they never even thought of.
Right.
But remember, you're an artist in dog flesh. And here is something that you might think about being an artist in dog flesh. Your dog changes over a long period of time. Let's say you're showing a specialist dog for 3 years total, which is a long time. I always used to try to make it no more than 2. The dog changes. And what I would do is once every 2 months, I had a long table and I would take pictures of wins and lay them out to see how I have changed, to see how the trim has changed. Because sometimes you don't realize it, but you change things, and maybe not always for the good. And
you're always hoping, though.
But, a dog will gain weight, he'll mature, he'll get... So I would go over those pictures and say, hey, he looks a little dumpy. Maybe I can change his trim in this area. Maybe I can change the angle of his neck a little bit because he's getting a little bit of a roll across the top of the shoulder blades. Little things like that you may not see the forest for the trees when you're in the middle of the competition. Also, too, you've got to have the same problem with gait. And at least once a month, I would have my assistants gate my specialist dog for me so I could see if there's any changes. And I think I brought this up once before, that I had a change with one of the Irish setters that I showed, became in Marquis. And he normally, as a young dog, was in a natural 2-beat stride. And it was absolutely gorgeous. Well, all of a sudden, I'm starting to feel things that it felt a little bit off. So I had my assistant gate it, and sure enough, he had gone into a 4-beat stride, and he was starting to rock and roll just a little bit. And we found that if we dropped his head a 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch while he was gating, he'd go right back into a 2-beat stride. So
Good.
you have to change. You have to be consistent on the gating also, and you also have to be consistent with the way you show the dog to create a picture. Now, do we have time for one more thing?
Probably not, George. We should probably wait for that for next one.
Okay, we'll do it on the next one on how to snooker the judge.
Okay, write that down so we don't forget. But if you have any questions for George or I, you can send them to dogshowtips@gmail.com and just put subject Coach's Corner and we will get to you. So, all right, George.
Great folks, go out there and remember, please remember, dogs are folks.
They sure are. Thanks, George. And if you like this, make sure you press the like, share, and subscribe button. And if you have any questions for either George or myself, send them to dogshowtips@gmail.com. Till next time, guys, take care.
And this year, with her strong athletic build, her fluid gait, and her confidence in the ring, the Beagle by the name of Miss P became the 9th.
The best in show is the Beagle.
Congrats, Miss P, on winning the 139th Westminster Best in Show.